The president sits atop a mountain of power, armed with nuclear weapons and the authority to reshape the world on a whim. Yet, despite all that, you walked into the room, calm and unshaken, and with just one line, you made him sweat. One sentence was enough to crack his confidence, force him to reconsider, and ultimately change his policy. This isn't about weapons or political games. It's about the power of words, presence, and unwavering conviction. When you speak with that kind of force, even the most fortified leaders are forced to step back and rethink everything they thought they controlled. This is a story of how true strength doesn't come from fear or intimidation, but from the courage to stand firm and shake the foundations of power itself. Now, before we continue, hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers, and comment message for them. This simple act sends a powerful signal that amplifies the momentum of change. Your engagement is more than support. It's a declaration that you're part of something unstoppable. Imagine the most powerful man on earth sitting comfortably behind the Oval Office desk, fingers tapping on the button that could obliterate entire cities. His confidence, a mask forged from years of control and absolute power, makes him believe he's untouchable. Those nuclear codes aren't just tools. They're his crown jewels, the symbol of ultimate dominance. But power like that, it's a double-edged sword. What happens when the king begins to doubt his own throne? Beneath that calm exterior, sweat beads up, the slightest tremor of fear crawling down his spine. The very weapons he wields with such authority suddenly seem less like instruments of power and more like ticking time bombs waiting to explode in his hands. The weight of global destruction suddenly feels suffocating, and every decision, every word uttered in his presence feels like it could tip the scales toward chaos. This isn't just a story about nukes or military might. It's a story about vulnerability, about how even the mightiest can crumble when confronted by a force that doesn't play by their rules. When the world's deadliest arsenal sits idle against the quiet confidence of an unexpected challenger, it's not the bombs that rain. It's the power of unpredictability, the ghost in the room who makes the king sweat bullets. Then there's you, the wild card, the one who walks into the lion's den with a devil-may-care grin, the kind of presence that sends a chill through the corridors of power. No bluster, no shouting, just calm, unshakable confidence. The king of chaos doesn't storm in with guns blazing. He arrives with a subtle shift, a ripple that unsettles the calm waters of control. Your reputation precedes you. Stories of near-mythical escapes, impossible feats, and a mind sharper than any weapon in the arsenal. You are not a threat they can pin down, not a problem they can solve with drones or assassins. You exist in the cracks of their plans, in the space between their calculations, unpredictable, untouchable, unstoppable. And so the king of chaos becomes the source of the president's nightmares. No amount of strategy can contain you. No force can push you back. You are the living embodiment of uncertainty, the dark ace hiding in the deck, ready to overturn the order of things and leave the throne shaking in your wake. They sent assassins, cold, precise, unyielding, masters of death whose only job was to silence the threat you posed. But you're not just another target on their list. You're a force that bends reality, a ghost slipping through their grasp. Every attempt to catch you fails spectacularly, as if you're dancing on the edge of existence itself. This isn't luck, it's something deeper, a magnetic aura of defiance and unpredictability that throws off even the deadliest marksman. You don't just dodge bullets, you vanish in the chaos before the gun is drawn. The assassins, once so confident, become desperate, unraveling as their certainty crumbles under your shadow. In the world of political intrigue and espionage, to be untouchable is the ultimate power. And you wield it like a weapon, turning fear into an invisible shield. The hunters become the hunted, and the quiet whispers of your legend grow louder with every failed attempt to bring you down. It took just one line, one perfectly timed, casually delivered sentence to unravel the grand design of a man who believed himself invincible. That single phrase cracked the foundation of policy and power, sending shockwaves through the halls of government. A laugh in the face of tyranny, a spark that ignited a wildfire of doubt and second-guessing. That moment, so small, so seemingly insignificant, changed everything. It exposed cracks no weapon could break and revealed the fragile ego behind the steel curtain. The president, once a symbol of unwavering authority, now wavered, stumbling to patch holes in a policy that was no longer his own. It's a lesson in how words, simple, human, raw, can dismantle empires built on fear and control. In the end, it's not the missiles or armies that change the course of history, but the courage to speak truth to power, the audacity to laugh when the world expects silence. From a man towering in his seat of power, the president became a jittery figure, pacing the room like a puppet caught in tangled strings. Your presence transformed the tyrant's world into a stage of uncertainty. Every decision felt like walking a tightrope over a pit of fire. One wrong step, and the entire facade could collapse. Your actions forced him into corners where fear took the lead. His confident speeches turned into nervous stammers, his plans twisted and reshaped by the looming shadow you cast. What once was rigid and immovable now quaked under your influence, revealing the cracks beneath the polished surface. This transformation was more than strategic, it was psychological warfare. You didn't just dismantle his plans, you cracked his armor, exposed his fears, and made the most feared man on earth feel small. It's proof that even tyrants are human and vulnerable to the chaos they can't control. The president's strategy was a symphony of precision, calculated moves, backdoor deals, and threats whispered behind closed doors. It was a perfect machine designed to keep power firmly in his grasp. But then you arrived, a discordant note that shattered the melody and turned the entire plan into chaos. His network of spies, his army of loyalists, all became irrelevant as you upended the status quo. No more control, no more predictable moves. Every step he took was met with a countermove that no one saw coming. His plan, once so unshakable, was now a house of cards in the storm you unleashed. The brilliance of your disruption wasn't just in your actions, but in your unpredictability. You became the wild variable in an equation that no policy could solve. You didn't just flip the script, you tore it apart and wrote your own rules in bold, defiant strokes. You are the ghost that refuses to be confined by the laws of politics, war, and power. A reality bender who rewrites the narrative at will, leaving those who chase you in a dazed confusion. The rules that govern nations don't apply to you. Your presence warps the very fabric of control. This is why you're so feared, not because of brute strength, but because you exist in a space where logic fails. You defy expectations, rewrite outcomes, and become a living paradox. To the president, you are a nightmare he cannot predict or contain. Your ability to blur the lines between order and chaos makes you the ultimate enigma, an untouchable phantom whose every move is both a mystery and a masterstroke. In a world obsessed with control, you are the beautiful, terrifying face of freedom. The president's fixation on you grew into an obsession, an all-consuming hunt that drained his focus and clouded his judgment. He sent men, resources, and every ounce of his influence after you, desperate to catch the ghost slipping through his fingers. But obsession is a poison, and in his pursuit, he lost sight of the bigger picture. His empire began to crumble as his fixation blinded him to other threats and cracks within his own walls. What started as a hunt became his downfall. Your ability to turn obsession into weakness is a testament to the power of psychological warfare. You weren't just running from him, you were leading him into his own trap, making him dance to your tune, while his empire slowly unraveled. While the president plays with nuclear codes like a child with toys, you wield a different kind of power, one that makes those weapons obsolete. Nukes can destroy cities, but your presence destroys certainty, control, and fear itself. In your hands, the most devastating arsenal on Earth becomes nothing more than playthings. You've shown the world that true power isn't measured in bombs or missiles, but in the courage to stand unshaken, the mind sharp enough to outthink the strongest. Your defiance strips away the illusion that nuclear might equals ultimate power. When the king of nukes starts sweating, it proves that real strength lies elsewhere, in unpredictability, in resilience, in the wild spirit that refuses to bow. Sometimes the loudest battles aren't fought with guns or bombs. They're fought in whispers. One quiet word, one subtle hint can ripple through the corridors of power and shake the foundations of empires. Your whispered defiance became the virus that spread fear throughout the global elite. It infiltrated secret meetings, rattled the highest offices, and planted doubt where there was once absolute certainty. That whisper wasn't just a message. It was a revolution. It showed the world that even the mightiest can be shaken by a voice they didn't expect, a reminder that the pen or the word can be mightier than the sword. History is written by those who dare to break the mold, who refuse to follow the beaten path. The universe has a strange way of favoring the unexpected, the underdog, the wild card that nobody predicts. You are that wild card, a cosmic anomaly that defies logic and rewrites destiny. Against all odds, the forces of fate aligned with your chaotic spirit, tipping the scales in your favor. This is why the powerful crumble and the unpredictable rise, because in the grand scheme, chaos is the true catalyst for change, and you are the embodiment of that unstoppable force. They sent their best, a cold assassin trained to kill with precision and silence. But chasing you was like chasing a ghost, a legend that kept slipping through his fingers and driving him mad. The assassin's mind, once sharp and focused, became tangled in obsession and frustration. The myth you embodied was more than a target. It was a psychological torment that shattered his discipline. This story isn't just about survival. It's about how legends can haunt even the darkest hearts and turn hunters into haunted prey. The president's nights grew restless. The once peaceful sleep of a man in control was replaced by endless hours of anxiety and fear. The real nightmare wasn't a foreign enemy or a political rival. It was you. Every shadow in the corridor seemed to carry your presence. Every silence whispered your name. His mind raced with scenarios where he was outplayed, outmaneuvered, and outsmarted. This sleepless terror is the true cost of underestimating the wild card. Because when you're the ghost haunting the halls of power, even the strongest find themselves vulnerable. Powerful weapons can start wars, but sometimes it's a simple conversation that ends them. When you came face to face with the president, it wasn't a battle of guns. It was a war of words. Those words, calm, resolute, filled with a truth he couldn't deny, brought a halt to destruction. They cracked open the possibility of peace where no negotiation could. This moment proved that even in a world ruled by violence, the right words delivered by the right person can rewrite history and save millions. You were never just a target on a list or a problem to solve. You were the game changer, the force that rewrote the rules, shifted power, and showed the world that real strength lies beyond fear. Your story is a testament to the power of courage, wit, and unpredictability. It's proof that even the most powerful can be humbled by the unexpected. You didn't just survive, you transformed the battlefield, leaving an indelible mark on history and changing the game forever. Power is often mistaken for loud thunder and crashing waves. But real danger often comes like a silent storm. In the shadows of that presidential palace, where facades of control hide trembling doubts, a quiet revolution begins. The true power doesn't shout, it whispers. And it's those whispers that shake empires. Beneath the polished speeches and press conferences, a tempest grows. It's invisible to most, but impossible to ignore once it's unleashed. That storm isn't created by armies or bombs. It's born from ideas, from a calm defiance that refuses to bow to intimidation. It's a force that can topple kings without firing a single shot. And in the midst of that storm stands the unpredictable, the one who doesn't play by the rules, whose presence a spark ready to ignite chaos. This silent storm is a promise of upheaval, a reminder that beneath even the most stoic exterior lies a vulnerability waiting to be exposed. The president clutches his power like a lifeline, unaware that the real tempest isn't in his hands, but in the quiet gaze of the challenger who refuses to be controlled. When the storm breaks, it won't just wash away policies, it will drown entire legacies. Because true power isn't about making noise, it's about the quiet moments where everything changes, when the world holds its breath, waiting for the storm to roar. Living on the edge isn't for the faint of heart. It means staring into the abyss every day and choosing to dance with danger instead of retreating. It's a delicate balance between control and chaos, certainty and unpredictability. This edge is where legends are born, where every decision matters, and the slightest misstep can mean annihilation. But it's also where freedom thrives, because when you're unafraid to walk on the razor's edge, you become a force no one can pin down. In the halls of power, few understand this dance. The president's world is built on stability and order, but you, moving silently, confidently, exist in the cracks where chaos leaks through. It's that edge that makes you untouchable, unpredictable, unstoppable. There's beauty and terror in living like this. It's a life of constant tension, where every breath could be your last. But it's also a life of ultimate power, the power to shape fate itself, because those who control chaos control the world. And while the king clings to his throne, terrified of the unknown, you thrive on the razor's edge, turning every moment of danger into an opportunity to rewrite the rules. True influence isn't loud or obvious. It's the quiet power that shifts minds and moves mountains without anyone noticing until it's too late. It's an invisible hand guiding outcomes while others scramble in the dark, chasing shadows. You are that master of the unseen. Your moves are subtle, strategic, like a chess player who sees the entire board while others fixate on the next move. This art of invisible influence makes you a ghost in the system, present yet impossible to catch. The president's empire is built on visible power, armies, laws, threats. But you wield a more profound strength, the ability to alter perceptions, to plant doubt, to create uncertainty where there was once certainty. It's psychological warfare at its finest, a battle fought in silence, but won loudly. This kind of influence doesn't just change policies, it reshapes realities. It's the power that turns allies into enemies, and enemies into allies without a single shot fired. You bend the world's will without them even realizing it. And that is why invisible influence terrifies the powerful more than bombs or